Hi, everybody. This is Sherri Leopold with Outside the Box with Sherri, and I'm so excited today to introduce you to my friend, Debbie Morton, and she is an awesome lady, and I can't wait for you to meet her. She has just some great information for you on just how to communicate in general. So welcome to Outside the Box with Sherri, Debbie.
Thank you so much, Sherri. You know what? It's funny. We've only known each other for a few months, and I feel like I've known you forever.
I know, I feel that way too. And as I said, I told my husband the other day, I'm going to come out and see you. So
Yeah.
I can't wait to collaborate on something. And I know that's coming. So what I'd really like to start off with is I would love to start off with is you tell the people watching who Debbie Morton is and what you do. I know, but I'd like for them to know how awesome you are.
I'd be happy to. I am a coach and trainer for network marketers and home-based entrepreneurs, anybody who's building a home-based business. And I help them, number one, be able to generate leads because we need people to talk to, right? So I'll work with them to generate high-quality leads. And the most important thing is how to have those conversations that close without feeling salesy or without feeling pushy, or, you know, your friends and your family start to avoid you because they don't want to hear from you again. So I teach people how to have those conversations that are just super comfortable and be able to close more sales.
That's awesome. And you know, I have a lot of people that will say, well, I'm not in sales. And I always have to remind people, oh, but you are. You're in sales always. Everyone's in sales.
Yeah.
Every
Trying to
single day.
convince your kids to go to bed early, or for
Eating vegetables.
The difference is money comes into play. And as soon as there's a possibility of getting a commission, now all of a sudden we feel icky about it. We don't want to talk about it because it's like, oh, I don't sell. Yeah, you do.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
And
It's just that most people don't get paid when they're selling, right?
Exactly. Exactly. And the sooner we own it and the sooner we feel good about it, the sooner we can actually like break out of that I'm afraid to talk to people or I'm afraid of rejection. We can start to be more comfortable because the conversations that I teach people to have don't feel like you're selling. You're there to help somebody. That's really what sales are, is helping somebody. Yes, there's money in exchange, and that's okay.
Exactly. And I think that's the whole thing. And you know that about me, is that that's where I come from as well. I believe with my whole heart that when I'm sharing something with somebody, that my intent is to benefit them in some way. I often say I don't feel better if you purchase from me. I don't feel worse if you purchase from me. You know, this is about you.
Right.
And I think that's about that communication. And I know that you're so excited about this new program that you have, and I am so excited to I want to get my hands on it too. So I'd love for you to talk a little bit about your personalities, because I believe this is something that can help people in everyday life, because we all have to communicate with other people, and we're not the same. We don't think the same.
Exactly.
So,
and this
kind of light on that a little bit.
Absolutely. So a lot of you have done the DISC profile, right? You've gone and done the assessment and you know that you're a letter. Maybe you're a D or an I or an S or a C, but then you over time forget even what that means. Or maybe you're a red or a yellow or a blue or green or whatever the color is. You may remember who you are as an individual, but do you remember what the other colors or numbers or letters are? We don't. And so what I teach with individuals is understanding personalities through different bird types. There are eagles. The eagles are the D in the DISC profile. They're big picture kind of people. They're quick and to the point. They're assertive. They're dominant. And then we've got the I's, which are the influencers, and those are the peacocks. And peacocks they're the life of the party, right? They're very big and beautiful, and everybody loves a peacock, and they're very people-oriented individuals. And then we've got the S is I guess it's social or steady, something like that. And I don't even know the letters of the DISC profile. But the S's are the doves. And doves are community. We think of love doves, and doves are always connecting people. They're very gentle. They like steady. And then we've got the C's, which are the owls. Wise old owls are up in the tree and they're just analyzing everything. They want duplicatable systems. They read the policies and the procedures, and they want to make sure everybody's following the rules. When we understand who we're talking to, we have a much better chance of gaining rapport and closing the sale. And so often as sales individuals, We speak to our own personality. If I'm an owl and I love policies and procedures and research and data, guess what? I'm going to give you tons of reports and tons of scientific data. And maybe you as a dove, you couldn't care less. All you want to do is help people. So to you, I need to be talking about the charity that our company supports and all the little kids in Africa that benefit from the business. We really want to speak to people in the style that they receive the information in.
And I think that you just absolutely hit the nail on the head of why some people very much struggle in this industry, or struggle in general in being a leader in any position, is because they lead from their own spot in which they stand. When, you know, if they're trying to create a most productive team, they have to address each person that they're trying to lead in their style, not focused in on themselves. That's why the best leaders can recognize those personality styles and deal with each person individually.
Yes.
And then everybody actually, ironically, will say, oh, they're such a good leader, when really it's just they're respecting that the other people think differently.
Exactly. And learn how to use those individuals in your organization, because there's no one bird that's any better or worse than any other bird.
Right.
They all have a role, and as a team, they work together beautifully. You know, when you're going to have a training session, you want the peacock up on the stage training the individuals. When you need to have something put into a spreadsheet, or let's create a system for people to follow up or duplicate, put the owls on it.
Right.
You have a Facebook group, have the doves leading that Facebook group. The eagles aren't even going to show up to the group. They're too busy, you know, doing their thing and creating their huge legacy. But the doves want to get everybody together in a group. Use those personalities, and you'll have a much stronger team when you learn how to recognize the role that each person can play inside of your organization.
And I think that's so true. And, you know, having been in this industry, this is my 21st year, I can look back over the course of my career and think about, oh, wow, that person was a dove, that person was this and that. And, you know, would I have led better and differently had I actually been able to acknowledge that a little bit better? But I think as when people are starting out and they're introduced to a company, or they decide to step into this side hustle or whatever they're looking at, they're not thinking about any of these things. Most of the time, intellectually, they're thinking, I have to know everything about the product. I have to memorize all this. I have to know this, or nobody's going to buy anything from me. When in reality, what you just spoke about is probably 98% of a sale.
Exactly.
Of any product, right?
Exactly. And a lot of people will ask, but how do I know who I'm talking to? And that's the other part of it, is I have a course that actually teaches you how to have a sales conversation where you keep the other person talking 70 to 80% of the time. Sales is all about asking questions. You can't solve a problem until you know what their problem is. And the way you're going to find out what their problem or their challenge is asking questions. And so I have a course that it's a whole, a script that's a very loose script, because it needs to be conversational. But just a list of conversational questions to find out. And inside of that, there's 4 different questions that you can say, put these in the order of importance, and that'll most often tell you what bird style someone is. Right.
At which case, I think a lot of times what happens is that people try to put the cart before the horse. So they try, instead of understanding their prospect or who they're even talking to, and it's, I'll liken it, because it doesn't have to be in a sales setting per se. It could be in having 3 children and they all have different personalities. What works with one is not the most effective way to deal with the other one, right?
Absolutely. Absolutely. If you've got an owl child, you're going to need to give them the reasons and the details and the whys and the what hows and all that kind of stuff. If you have an eagle, you're going to be talking to them straight, matter of fact, and direct. If you have a dove, you know, they're going to be very sensitive, and you want to just like guide with love. And so there's different ways that, and just understanding how they think, how they process information is so important.
And I think that what you articulated right there is essentially what defines how someone feels valued, right? This is why they feel love in return. This is why they feel part of a team. This is why they purchase from you. This is why the people, when you have a service professional come and they act a certain way to you, this is why we assign value to it in a higher category, is because we're understood.
Exactly. And there are some birds, if you're very dominant in one bird style, there's probably other bird styles that just bug you. Like, I don't get them. I just simply don't get them. It's really important when you understand the birds, because now you can start to get them. And we need to be a chameleon. We need to understand all of those styles and how to see the world through their eyes and how they process information. It's different. It's not wrong. And until we see who we are, and if we're really dominant in one bird style, it's a great exercise to be able to practice becoming other birds. Not that you're going to change your personality, but the more you can step outside of your own comfort zone of, this is how I process information and this is how I make decisions. If you can step outside of your own comfort zone, that's where growth happens. And ideally, kind of become a balance of 4 birds, or be able to speak all 4 bird languages really easily.
And see, I think that what you just said to me, the way I envision this, because I do have a team, is that each person has a place on that team. And if you lead with only one vision of like, this is how you do it, you're going to find that you're standing there with very few people.
Exactly.
In the end game, because the other ones couldn't relate to you and didn't feel understood, and they leave the nest, or they leave because they're not understood.
Exactly. If you have a peacock on the team, they're very creative. They're just like tons of thoughts and ideas, and they don't mind making a mistake. You know, I'll try this. Oops, that didn't work. I'll try something else. Oops, that didn't work. You have an owl on the team, and an owl wants something done step 1, step 2, step 3, and they're trying to hold the peacocks into that tight mold. It's going to drive them both nuts. And so, yeah.
I love that so much. You have no idea. So I'm excited because I know that you have something that you would want to offer our viewers, and we connected on LinkedIn, and I know you're on all the social media platforms, so I'm going to have you share that too. But I want you to talk a little bit about what you want to share with our viewers.
Okay. I have a complimentary guide. It's called 9 Simple Tips to Help You Close More Sales and Make More Money. And it's 9 tips of what's working today in sales. Sales has changed and it's evolved over time. And there are things that maybe your upline who's been in the industry for 22 years, things that worked 22 years ago, they don't work anymore. Yeah. And so this guide is an up-to-date guide of how to have just super comfortable conversations. I give some different tips and some different scenarios of what works, what doesn't. And I'd love to offer that guide to anyone who is here listening today. And to grab that guide, you can go to successwithdebbie.com/9 tips, TIPS.
Awesome. And we'll have that listed below also, so people can, with a clickable link, so people can just click on that. Gosh, I'm excited. That feels like just this monster gift. I love it. So can
one more thing too.
Yeah.
I have another guide that is like, it's hot off the press. It may be released at the time we're airing this. And so it is, I don't even know if I have it named yet, but it's going to be a resource guide for those birds that we just talked about. And it's just going to be a short guide that tells what is an eagle, what are their traits, what do they love, what are they afraid of, what is the owl, what are their traits, and how you're perceived. If you're a really strong bird style, how do other people perceive you? It's important to know that about yourself. So that guide's also going to be available. If you get the 9 tips guide, you'll be one of the first to get the other guide.
Oh, that's awesome. And you know what? That's like the quick reference guide that every leader in every company, in doesn't matter if it's direct sales or network marketing or Walmart or wherever, should have handy on their desk for anybody that comes and sits in front of them in their chair before they go into any meeting they're going to lead. They should have that guide handy, knowing that everybody at the table isn't just like them.
Absolutely. I work mainly with network marketers and home-based business, but this second guide, it applies to everyone.
Right. I love that. So anyway, I'm just so thrilled that you took the time today, and I appreciate you and having met you through LinkedIn, actually, which I know you have a great presence there. And if you're excited about Debbie's message, you can check out, she does a lot of really valuable videos on LinkedIn that she shares her knowledge and expertise, which is awesome to follow along with. So you can follow her on LinkedIn as well. And so I'm just so excited. And once again, can you just share the ways that people can connect with you on social media?
Absolutely. You can find me on LinkedIn, and when you search for Debbie Morton, my profile will have 2 little blue diamonds around it, so it's easy to find me because there's a lot of Debbie Mortons out there. Okay. I'm also on Facebook. I have a Facebook page, Debbie Morton page, and my personal profile is public, so if you want to connect with me there, I'm happy to have you as a friend as well. So there's a lot of different ways to connect with me. And inside of the guide, once you grab that guide, it's sent to you via email. Okay. And so you can stay tuned for future emails, and I'll give additional ways that you can connect and actually have a session with me. And let's just talk about your business. So let's talk about your goals and see how we can get you generating more leads. Another reason that people tend to sell in a very pushy or assertive manner is they're desperate. They want to build this team. They want to get this going. And so they're kind of desperate. If you have an unlimited flow of leads, if you have 5 to 10 leads, high quality leads coming into your inbox every single day, then now you can have conversations it's not about you, it's about them. And if they don't want your product, it's okay. It's okay, because you've got 5 more people to talk to.
Exactly. And I think I often phrase this to people as if you have 1 in 10 people that are interested in direct communication with you about your product, it feels kind of like, but if you have 10 out of 100, you focus on the 10. It's the same ratio, but it feels differently.
It does. It creates an energy and a momentum and that feeling of power when it's like, you know what, let's just talk about you and let's figure out where we can go with your business and how you can generate more leads. And it's just a different conversation.
Exactly, exactly. Well, you know, I adore you, and I thank you so much for sharing your expertise with my viewers and Outside the Box with Sherri. I love shining a light on people that are doing extraordinary things, and in my opinion, what you're doing is really helping the world communicate better and understand one another better. And I of course, love that. So thank you again for being on. If anybody wants to be a guest on Outside the Box with Sherri, if you have a referral, you can send me an email at sherrileopold2@gmail.com, and we'll connect and have a conversation, or you can find me on all the social medias too at Sherri Leopold. So I'm excited to stay connected with you and cheer you on as you build and grow your network of communicators as well, Debbie. Thanks again.
Thank you, Sherri, for having me. I've just so enjoyed our friendship, and thank you so much for having me today.
You bet.